Hello, everyone, and welcome to our very first episode of What's Up, Northern Ontario. We're going to put a focus and a spotlight on living in the North and the things that affect us here in the North and our friends and family around us all over the globe. Tonight, our spotlight is looking at C-19. Patients, symptoms, effects, and everything going on with C-19 in Northern Ontario. I had planned on gathering about a half a dozen people, but of course, Northern Ontario weather strikes again, and we're in the midst of a blizzard up here. So sadly, we did lose a couple of participants tonight due to weather. They're not available for one reason or another. The weather is affecting their ability to join us, but we do have two guests joining us via podcast, two guests joining us live and in person, and we're hoping for one or two more that will be able to pop in a little bit late tonight to join the chat. So tonight, first of all, I would like to bring you our first guest, gentleman by the name of Jeff. And of course, once again, all our guests tonight have experienced C-19 in the very recent past or present even. So we're going to talk a little bit about everybody's experiences with C-19. Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Jeff. Nice to have you here. Thank you for joining us tonight. We also have a second individual by the name of Janice is in the house tonight. Hello, Janice. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Good. Of course, right beside me is JJ, Mama J. People know her through other podcasts that we've done here on NOK Productions, Northern Ontario Kim Production Company. So thank you, everybody, JJ, Mama J, Janice, and Jeff for joining me tonight, and for all the viewers out there that are turning into our podcast tonight to talk C-19. Please remember, comments are open. Our chat is open. If you have any questions or comments, chime in on the live feed and we will pass those on. We are broadcasting on, tonight we're on Northern Ontario Kim Productions, as well as Temiskaming Open Forum and YouTube. So thank you again for doing this, everybody. Okay, so C-19. There's lots of talk about C-19, the severity of it, and how it's affecting different people. From everybody that I've spoken to, and there were dozens that contacted me about tonight's show, but so many did not want to appear on camera. It's amazing to me how many people are willing to talk one-on-one, but not come on a podcast about it. So I'm really happy for the few that did turn up. It seems that everybody experiences differently. There's a sort of a core base for everybody, that you've got one or two items out of that core base, or sometimes all of them. But then there's a lot of variables. Jeff, let's start with you. How long ago did you have it? How bad was it? And how are you doing? So let's start off with how long ago.
So it was back. Oh, let me look at the calendar. On the Wednesday evening, I woke up after going to bed probably 8:30 because I drive truck as well. So I was going to sleep, got up at 11. My son was going to work, and I went back to bed, and all of a sudden came down with like massive chills, aches and pains. So into Thursday morning, obviously called work, told them I'm not coming in. And yeah, I was down and out on Thursday. Like it was pretty bad. And then Friday, I kind of seemed to be getting a little bit better. I was like, right on, right? So it was like not a big deal. But from the time I got infected, I didn't sleep after that. So yeah, that was kind of bad, right? So like my wife, she ended up coming home from work on Friday. She was sick for the weekend, and then she was great. So Saturday, I think is when we had our snowstorm. I was out, or no, I guess that would come Monday is when we had the snowstorm. I thought I was good. I went out, I shoveled my driveway. all that good stuff, right? Kid stayed home from school that day, so it wasn't a big deal. After that, oh no, it just hit me like a ton of bricks after that. So that now coming into like this past week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, yeah, I was pretty bad. Like I wasn't like my breathing was fine, but like I said, I hadn't slept. So on Tuesday, I ended up calling my wife home from work because I was pretty scared, right? Because I hadn't been sleeping, etc. Right, playing with my emotions. Like it was pretty scary as far as I was concerned in that sense. And then I ended up going to the hospital just to reassure myself that I was getting enough oxygen, etc. Yeah, the doctor told me when I was in there everything was good, and he's just treated over 30 people that weren't fully vaxxed. So as we all know, what's fully vaxxed right now, right? So here I am, not vaxxed, right? And he did tell me, well, this could linger for a couple weeks, right? Like you seem to be doing a little bit better. So, but either way, so Tuesday, my wife went to her sister's and got me a bunch of natural ivermectin and a bunch of different pills. So I just been taking them every day, twice a day, right? And since so, what are we today? So I guess Thursday is when I actually probably started to get maybe an hour or two of sleep at night. So like I'm just starting to get back maybe 4 hours of sleep. Like I'll go to bed and then I'll wake up maybe 12, and yeah, I'll just pretty much be up the rest of the time. But yeah, like my symptoms, besides just the aches and pains, yeah, like I wasn't eating and I wasn't sleeping, and the smell of things is a lot different. So yeah, that's pretty much how it is, right? It's like
Yeah,
you can
it's
ask me
familiar. A
something
few of
else.
them I can relate to. A
Yeah.
few of them I can relate to as well. And like we said at the beginning, it seems to be different, a little bit different for everybody.
Well, I've
Different
also
symptoms.
I've also lost just over 20 pounds since this whole thing started.
Wow.
Yeah, like I was about
Wow.
185 pounds when this started, and now I'm sitting at what 165. So yeah. So
Holy. Yeah, that's a pretty big drop in weight, man.
Yeah, no
oh
For
yeah.
kidding.
sure.
Yep.
Wow.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, and like I had
I'm gonna pop down.
absolutely no energy either for like the first pretty much the week, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, low energy, eh?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
that I
big
can
time.
relate to.
Yeah, for sure. So let's pop down to Janice. Janice, give us an overview, very much the same as Jeff did, like on how this was for you. How long ago did you have it? Are you still suffering from it? And what were your symptoms like?
Yeah, like I can't even, I'm trying to think back to the exact date, like the day, and I can't remember the exact day, but it kind of hit hard the first day, like it did with Jeff too, with like a high fever and chills and body aches. And like it kind of had me, like I was stuck on the couch. I have kids, so I couldn't lay in bed, but I was like stuck on the couch for at least 48 hours just with the aches and pains. And I was taking like the Epsom salt baths every couple of hours, like just to kind of give me some relief. And so that lasted like that 48 hours or so. And after that, it was just nauseous for, I'd say, like the next 4 or 5 days. And it would come and go. And it would be like, I'd wake up in the morning and I'd feel pretty good. And then by noon, it would kind of hit me. And I would kind of be stuck back on the couch, like laying down for the rest of the afternoon, just waiting for bedtime again, kind of a thing, right? Yeah.
Did you have the smell thing going on and taste?
Yeah, but you know what? That's funny because the smell and the taste didn't kick in until afterwards. Because my husband was making moose meat, and like that might have been maybe like day 4. He was like making moose meat, and I was like, "Oh, I can't handle that right now. I'm too nauseous. Like I can't. You can't cook that right now." And I made him stop cooking it and everything. And then like 2 days after that, couldn't taste or smell anything. And I was like, "What? Like I'm almost better. Like how is this happening now?" And it's like that's pretty much the only lingering symptom that I still have is I can't taste or smell.
So that's just
And then I
gone.
still
It's not that it's changed, it's just gone.
yeah. It is really
Okay.
weird. It's really weird when you can't smell yourself, like if you don't know if you
Yeah.
stink. And then it affects everything.
Yeah.
It affects everything that I'm like cooking and eating and like and smoking, like
Yeah.
really weird.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
people will
For
try to
sure.
compare it
Yeah.
to like when you lose your taste when you get the flu or like when you're sick, and it's not the same at all. At all, at all, at
No.
all. You lose your taste when you're sick that way because your nose is blocked, kind of that kind of a sense is blocked, right? This is different. Like it's
Yeah.
like you can't, it's weird. It's like when is it gonna come back? It's like a switch.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard
Yeah.
that from many. I didn't have that particular experience. But my friend JJ had a bit of a weird one. All right, let's switch over to JJ. JJ, tell us a little bit about. Maybe I should start because I gave it to you, right?
Right?
Okay. All right. All right. So for us in our household here, there's three of us. My husband is the one that brought it home. My husband Steve got it. He tested positive at his work. He works in mining. He left his long time position at one company because of a vax mandate. He secured a temporary contract position when he was sent home on unpaid leave from the company for being unvaxxed. So he is at a temporary position right now. And the company that he is currently with has a testing thing. So once a week at the start of the week, you have to get tested. Everybody on site has to get tested. He had a meeting the previous week with some of the other people in the office. One of those ladies in the meeting wound up catching COVID, and Steve was in that meeting. By the following Monday, he tested positive. He was feeling sick over the weekend, and we knew that the woman had tested positive the previous week, and then he started showing symptoms. So we pretty much knew that's what was going on, but it was confirmed when he was tested positive the following Monday going back to work, and we got the phone call from the office. By Tuesday, I was feeling sick, and of course we share a bed, so of course I got it, and I have a house guest here. JJ is staying with us. So we're all in the same house, and it's a small house. So of course she got it, and it just came through. JJ and I didn't test, but Steve did, and he tested positive. So there's no doubt in my mind that the three of us had the same thing.
That's right. That's right.
For symptoms for me, major symptoms where I actually felt sick lasted for about 3 days. I was only down. I was 3 days. One day I was in bed. The other 2 days I was out of bed, but I just wasn't feeling good. It was a flu. It felt just like the flu for me. It was body aches, muscle joints, everything was stiff and sore. I have arthritis, so I felt like I was having an arthritis flare up. All of my joints were very stiff. I couldn't make a fist. I couldn't grasp anything. It was all it hurt a lot. A lot of body aches and chills. For us, protocol, what we did, I took something called Sambicol. It's elderberry extract. And that's what we did. We did Sambicol and Motrin for the aches, pains, and chills and fever. Steve had a fever. I'm pretty sure I had a low grade fever, and that's what was causing the body aches. So we did the Motrin to take care of that. And like I said, within 3 days, I was better. I have a bit of a cough, but I don't know for sure that it's exasperated by the COVID, because through all of this, I smoked a lot of cigarettes because I was pissed. And I'm a cigarette smoker, and my cigarette consumption went pachoom up to the moon through all of this. So I'm not sure if that's COVID related or if it's because of an increase in smoking. It could be either or, a combination of both. But I do have a minor cough, but it's not affecting my lungs at all. I didn't get the taste thing. I didn't get the smell thing. But I did get headaches. There's these awful headaches. And it's not like a regular headache. I mean, I've suffered from headaches my whole life. I have epilepsy. I have issues, and I know what headaches are. I'm a migraine sufferer. That's not what this is. It's something very different. It's a headache I've never had before. But again, the Motrin took care of it. And as soon as I feel like it's coming back, I pop another Motrin, and then I'm good to go. It's like it's a low dose of, just ASA is taking care of most of it for me as a whole. And that's been about my experience. Ups and downs for sure. You feel like you're feeling better, and then 2 days goes by and you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh my God, I feel like shit again. Why is this happening? I take the Sambucol, I take the Motrin, and by lunchtime, I'm pretty much good to go. So it really hasn't been all that bad for me. I've spoken to a few people, and I mentioned, I've had hangovers that were worse. I've had allergy seasons that were worse and lasted longer. So am I lucky? Well, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. JJ, what was it like for you?
It was pretty much the same. The first 48 hours, it's feverish, chills, body aches, headache that is not normal. I too suffer from migraines. This was not any regular other headaches I've ever experienced in my life before, whatsoever. Little bit of issue with the breathing. I'm very short of breath. But besides that, like Kim said, ups and downs. I felt really good. I felt really shitty. I did sleep though, 17 hours straight.
Yeah.
That's one thing, is that
She slept and I couldn't sleep.
I slept through it, no problem. No problem.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. And by the end of it all, now it's I keep smelling vinegar when there is absolutely no vinegar open in the house.
Yeah.
Whatsoever. And it comes and goes, and it's been like that. I'm going on my third day.
Okay.
And the sweats on and off, it's almost like heat flashes.
Menopause.
Mhm.
Yeah. Today.
Yep.
And I cannot sleep laying down because it feels like my lungs are filling up with fluid.
Oh.
So I have to sit up to sleep.
She's got it more in her lungs than
Yeah.
I did.
Are you a smoker too, JJ?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I am.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because
It is.
I say interesting because we caught COVID. Oh, sorry. We caught
ahead.
COVID
Go ahead.
when we were smokers, and I found it took me a longer time to heal, like as far as like mucus in the lungs and stuff, right? And like now we got it as non-smokers, and we've been non-smokers for over a month before we caught it the second time, and like the healing process was a lot different. Like I healed a lot faster. There was no like lingering cough or like none of that stuff going on. I didn't feel like my chest was caving in or anything like that. Like last time I felt like my chest was caving in, like a little bit of shortness of breath. I panicked a little bit, but this time I didn't get any of that. It was everything but. It was weird.
Yeah,
See,
well,
I-
especially when absolutely put it down to
when you're used to having like the smoker's symptoms to go along with everything, and then all of a sudden they're not there.
Exactly. I wanted to mention too, Jeff, I forgot to mention, I also had about, I think it was 1 or 2 days where I could not sleep. I laid in that bed for 4 or 5 hours, and I'm like, come on, you're so tired. You're just fucking, I'm white. I'm exhausted. I can't lift my head. I can't open my eyes, but I cannot sleep. It drove me bloody insane for a day or two.
And see, I even took melatonin. I started like just 5 milligrams. That didn't work. The next night was 10. That didn't work. The next night I took like almost 40 milligrams, and that still didn't knock me out. Right. And then of course, like melatonin, you're not supposed to really take any more than 10 milligrams. So yeah, I just kind of
Yeah.
just laid in my bed and just hoped that I went to sleep. And then yeah, like I might have dozed off for 20 minutes at the very most. But like some of the other symptoms that I did have when I was laid up, it was like almost burning sensations on different parts of my body as well. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of weird. And like on some of my fingers, it was like I had stuff stuck in them where there was like nothing there. So yeah, kind of weird. And that's for sure.
Yeah, unusual symptoms, right? The sleep thing. It's I cured my sleep issues by eating a whole lot of THC.
It's another thing
I
too, like
slept.
Jeff, you said that you were like you were kind of emotional the first couple of days.
Well, it
Yeah.
was more after I didn't get any sleep from like
Yeah,
the Wednesday. I
sleep
didn't get back to
deprivation will do
sleep.
that.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
like by
definitely.
Sunday, I was like a complete emotional wreck, like just all kinds of thoughts going through my head, everything, right? So yeah,
Well,
like
because
being
my
sleep
husband was the
deprived
same
is
way. Like he came
Yeah,
busting
so
into my
he
room
was
and
the
he was like
same
crying. He's like, I can't sleep. And I'm like, I've never been sick like this before. And like, he's like, what's going on with me? And I was like, relax, you're just tired, go to bed. And that's what he did eventually. But that was like the extent of him being like overwhelmed with emotion. Like he's just like, he's like, I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't sleep. Like big drama.
Yeah, well, it's enough to drive you bonkers,
Yep.
right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, when you can't sleep, you lose your bloody mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. The sleep deprivation, I mean, that's used as a torture tactic, right?
Yep.
It's very well known effects from sleep deprivation, for sure. Jeff, you mentioned you went to the hospital and you were afraid and this and that. I want to touch on this a little bit because I'm finding this with people that I have met, and I even had thoughts cross my own mind, and I kind of looked at myself and give yourself a shake because it did come across my mind as well, some concerns. Do you think the media attention and the focus and the pounding of the propaganda for all of this, do you think that played a role in you visiting the hospital? If you would have been the same illness in 2018, say, would you have gone to the hospital?
I guarantee I probably would not have gone to the hospital in 2018 if this was happening without all this media propaganda and bullshit. That's for sure. The other thing I made the mistake of calling my mother to talk to my mother, and she is pro-vax everything. And yeah, she obviously put some thoughts in my mind because I hadn't been sleeping. So that's probably 90% of the reason I went to the hospital. Was just to kind of reassure myself, right? I kept saying I'm fine, right? Like I said, breathing, all that stuff was fine. I did notice when I did smoke, like have a cigarette, like I know 90% of the time I vape, right? But I do smoke cigarettes. But since probably Sunday, I haven't touched a cigarette, and they smell gross. Like not gross, they have that same smell. Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, good time to quit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, but yeah, like breathing wise, I thought I was fine. It was just like if I was laying there, all of a sudden, like you have the nasal congestion, and then you go to swallow, and because whatever, it was just like, okay, I might be choking. It's just more of a mind fuck than anything, as far as I was concerned. But yeah, it definitely played a toll. And I think the fact that I wasn't sleeping was probably the biggest reason. It played a big toll in my head, that's for sure. But again, I'm a firm believer in natural immunity and natural remedies. So as far as I'm concerned, this jab isn't gonna do anything. And especially when the doctor goes, oh, well, you can still get it and give it to people if you're vaxxed. And I went, really? Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So what's the point then, right?
Exactly, right?
What's the point? I want to touch on that a little bit. during our conversation here. There's a lot of strict rules in this country that we've endured and that have gotten really out of control in the last year here in Canada. We're seeing now a shift in other places where they're rolling stuff back. A lot of scientific study and doctors coming out saying, you know what, it's here to stay. It's endemic now. It's time to open stuff up and get back to life. We've all had C-19. Oh, we've lost Janice. She'll pop back in when she can. We've all had C-19 now. And do you think that all of the precautions were warranted for this virus?
I don't think so. No, not at all. Not one bit, right? Like if we got a survival rate of 99.97%, right? Especially if you're under 60 or 70 years old, right? So like why shut down everything if you know anything about viruses? By trapping a virus in a household actually just makes it a lot worse, right? Instead of it allowing it to run its course. So, but like I say, I do a lot of research, right? But I'm not a doctor. So a lot of people just think
Your
I'm
phone's
crazy when
plugged
I
in. I gotta go
talk.
get it.
So yeah. So I just carry on with my life.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I mean, we discussed some of our symptoms, and you know, you even just mentioned, you know, the same thing happened in 2018 or 2019. You wouldn't have gone to the hospital. A lot of this, I think, that we're experiencing is because of the hype. Now,
Psychological warfare.
myself, yeah, absolutely. And people say, "Oh, well, that's Omicron, and Omicron is different, and this and that." Well, this is my second bout.
Okay,
with
stop
COVID.
it.
I did have COVID-19 in December 2019 or January 2020. I did experience COVID-19, the original version of COVID-19. As I said earlier, my husband's in mining, and there are several mining professionals that he meets with that were, you know, back and forth to China, getting parts and manufacturing and that kind of thing. All of Kirkland Lake, pretty much, I would think, you know, 80 to 90% of the town of Kirkland Lake came down with original strain COVID when it first came out. And it ran through a mine called Detour Gold as well, where 90% of the staff was down in December and January of 2020, January 2020, December 2019. And everybody got diagnosed with the same thing, unknown respiratory infection. That was the original strain of COVID. Now, that was very different than what I've experienced this time around. Now, I don't know if this time around was lesser because of the strain of COVID and the new variant, or if it's because I had the original strain, or a combination of both. Because natural immunity is definitely playing a role. We're seeing that everywhere. So do you feel protected now, Jeff?
I would like to think I do, that's for sure. Like my son, he had it 2 weeks prior to me actually getting it. So I think maybe I caught it from him. I'm not 100% sure, but like when he tested, when you watch the little lines go up, it went past the T up to the C. That line went solid, and then 2 minutes later, a little faint line started on the T. So he was positive as far as we were concerned. So we retested him,
Yeah.
and again it came back the same. So okay, yeah, so he isolated, right? He continued doing his usual routines, everything, right? He was down and out. He slept for quite a bit, but yeah, he's kind of back to normal now. And then yeah, a couple weeks later I get it. So yeah, I would like to think that we're much better protected now that we've got it in our system, but then again, we don't actually know what we're dealing with, right? So I guess time will tell.
Time will tell. That's for sure. And that's the thing that's problematic with this particular virus. Other viruses that we've come across in the past, they were formed naturally in nature, freak of nature, monkey meats, whatever, and chicken, and poof, we have a new bird flu. You know, these are how they've all formed in the past. This is different. It was man-made. It was genetically engineered. So what was it genetically engineered to do? That's what's very weird. Every other flu virus that we've ever experienced as a population, you generally have the same symptoms all the way around. Everybody's got a runny nose. Everybody's got a chest infection. Everybody's got whatever the particular symptom is. But this particular virus, everybody is different. And that's very strange.
It also, yeah, it is. It also affected my back. Now I have degenerate disc disease, right? So I already have back pain to begin with, but when this hit, it really played a toll with my back. So that was like probably 5 days of my back just going crazy. I couldn't get comfortable. Like part of like the no sleeping was being restless. Like I could lay down on the couch for an hour and then I'd be up, I'd be walking around like just kind of a zombie, but like my back was just killing me. So eventually I found Robaxacet and I took one of them, and since I took that, all my back pain has been gone. Hasn't been bugging me since. I'm like, all right. So, but yeah, it's definitely weird on how this thing affects you.
Yeah. Everybody seems to be getting affected differently. Now I'm seeing they're lifting measures all over the world. I hope that happens here very soon. The narrative and the push from media, although it is still very much there, we get our 15 articles a day from each major publication that's out there. But every day there seems to be, first there was like one counter story per week. Then it was 2 per week. Then it was 1 per day. That's sort of shifting the narrative, saying, well, maybe, now we're seeing 2 a day from different mainstream outlets that are saying, well, we don't know anymore. So I think it's a slow roll, but the narrative is beginning to tilt. Do you see that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I pay attention to all the news streams, right? Like the CDC and the WHO are now saying like you guys might as well just lift the restrictions, right? You got Ireland, I think, that's lifted the restrictions, right? You got the UK that's lifted a bunch, but then again, you got an election coming up. So is this all smoke and mirrors, right? And because if you've seen the game plan, there's still more stages to come, right? So is this just to take our attention off of, okay, yeah, we're getting back to normal, and next thing you know, they're going to go, boom, guess what? Digital currency, this, and this, right? So this is something we all have to be very vigilant about.
Yeah, big picture for sure. I got a little list here. Restrictions being lifted in different places. London, Denmark, Singapore, Thailand, South Africa, Chile, Mexico, Spain, and Sweden never had them.
Yeah. Greenland, I think, is all by themselves as well. I think so. Like,
yeah, there's a few I'm sure that aren't on my list. That's just what I was able to dig up tonight pre-show, but I'm sure the list is even lengthier than that. That's the few that I found right off the bat. So I mean, it's encouraging for sure. I just keep coming back to, okay, I've had it twice. Now the first time, it was far worse, but I still wasn't in hospital or anything. I felt like there was an elephant sitting on my chest with Delta. Or not Delta, sorry, the original strain, because Delta was the second. So the original Wuhan virus would be what I had. And it felt like there was an elephant sitting on my chest for about 3 weeks. I couldn't take a deep breath in. I'm a cannabis consumer. My cannabis consumption method of choice is dabbing through my nectar collector here. dabbing concentrates. And though I could hardly breathe in through original C-19, I kept dabbing through the entire thing because it made me choke. And every time I would choke at the end of a dab, for a couple of seconds, I could take a deep breath. And then they would fill again. But for those few seconds, I could take a deep breath and it felt great. So I turn around and I would do another dab just to make myself choke. And it would clear my airways. And it worked for me. I mean, I drank Sambucol, I ate Tylenol and Motrin, and I dabbed. And within 3 weeks, I got rid of the Wuhan virus. And this time around, I did the same protocol. And in 3 days, I got rid of Omicron. So why are we locking down if this is what can be accomplished with dabs and Sambucol?
Don't know. It's a crazy time,
it doesn't
right?
make any sense.
It's hard when you got a dictator as a leader, right? And doesn't want to listen. So
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. And I mean, and I'm not isolated here. People
No,
are
no,
like,
no.
"Oh, you're one of the lucky ones,"
No,
and
no, no,
people
no.
are telling me, well, when you're older, it makes a difference. Well,
No,
I'm 58. My husband's 59,
and I'm 48.
and she's 48. So we've got three basically in our 50s here. And which was like over the realm is like they say everybody over 45 has a more difficult time, and this. Well, we've got three of us in this house that was proven untrue.
Yeah. So I continued doing my lives through it all.
Yeah, I've been on the air,
And
3 shows a week doing for my radio station. Through all of it.
Yeah.
It was the worst day when I didn't sleep and I still went on the air.
well, maybe because you
I
guys
didn't cough.
already had the original one, maybe it didn't affect you as much. Certain antibodies helped you
That's
out a
what I
little bit
was
more.
thinking.
Could be original, immunity, right? Natural immunity from the original strain. It stands to reason that they would still be related to all the variants, is still related to the original strain.
Yep.
It's a lot of talk about people wanting to get tested for antibodies now.
Yes.
I'm going to be having a doctor on Thursday, and we're going to be discussing the antibodies with him as well, and antibody tests and why they're not doing that. But as far as vaccine goes, I've had COVID twice now. Why the hell would I get a vax?
Doesn't make any sense.
No.
Nope, not at all.
It doesn't.
Nope.
It doesn't.
See, my pain.
So, have you got lasting symptoms now? Like you're still going through it. How long has it been? A couple of weeks?
Well, what, we're Saturday, so I'm just over a week. What, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10? I've been about 10 days now, and since, like I said, probably Thursday-ish is when I've been probably the best and could tell people, yes, I'm actually on the up and up. But yeah, I still have like a cough, like it's more of a deep cough, like trying to clear my throat where there's really actually nothing there. I still get hot, and then I'll have to like go and lay down, right? So like your hot flashes, I'm still getting them. But other than that, like headaches, I still get the headaches. And yeah, it's not the same headaches I would normally be getting. It's a lot different. I don't know really how to explain it. So, but yeah, definitely still feeling some effects. So whether we want to call that long COVID, who knows, right? So
New name.
yeah.
New name. New name. I've had colds in decades gone by that lasted months. Lingering effects lasting months after the flu. This is not new. Everybody seems to think, because we've called it long COVID now. We put a name on it.
Yep.
Did we have something, called, long H1N1?
Yeah.
Did we
Actually,
have long SARS?
no. See, I had H1N1
You know?
back in 2014 or something, and I think that was a lot worse than what I just experienced.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
my
But it didn't
nose,
make
it
the
would.
news.
No, not at all.
and they did lock down the country for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
mean, we had SARS. You don't hear about long SARS. You
that's
don't hear
right.
about none of that. And more than likely, there are some people out there that these things exist for. But because it didn't make the news, it's not in the forefront of everybody's mind. And everybody's not panicked about it because it's not on the news. The media is driving this train.
Governor.
Yep. Media is the worst people right now.
Yeah, because we never heard about any of this. Like I say, long H1N1, long SARS. Take your letters. There's H1N1 all the way up to N936,000 because there's so many bloody variants of the flu out there. They're all over the place. They've been with us since the dawn of time. I don't see this one being any different.
No,
No.
it shouldn't be. Yeah, I think
It
if the
shouldn't
media just stopped, I think people would probably realize that it's not that bad.
Exactly. And like through every variant that's going to come off of this, little by little, as it develops, it's going to get less deadlier and more or less turn into just a common cold.
Cold.
Yep. Yeah. Well,
Cold.
see, now that I've had this, my mom goes, "Oh, so like you're gonna get the vaccine now?" Because I wouldn't want anybody else to go through what you went through, right? And I'm like, why would I get the vaccine? It makes absolutely no sense, right? So
You have natural immunity.
yeah, and then she goes on, "Oh, well, I just had a party with a bunch of friends, and one of her friends' daughters works in the Kitchener Hospital, so I guess she worked this extra long shift, and in that shift, 3 people under my age, so like I'm 40, so they were younger than me. I guess they all died within an hour of being in the hospital." This is what she's telling me. And I'm like, well, that's great. Now, were they overweight? Did they have diabetes? Right? Do we know any of their other health? Exactly. Right. And she didn't have anything to say except you should just get vaccinated. Yeah. And I went, no, I shouldn't. So.
Yeah, no, I've slept now. I'm good, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I've had some sleep. We're good.
Yeah, and then again, did those people get hooked up to a ventilator? Did they get remdesivir administered to them? Right, like we don't know what's going on. So that's why I just told my mom, shut up. I'm talking to you. I'm telling you how I'm feeling. Leave it as that, right? So, and that's what she's done now.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, as far as vaccine goes, if somebody wants to get it, they're free to get it. Everybody should be able to make their own choice on this. I'm not arguing with anybody that wants to get the vax. I'm not here to try and convince somebody not to get the vax. I am here to defend my personal right not to get the vax because I don't require the vax because I have natural immunity.
That's right.
And then those that argue with me that I need to do things their way, that's what I have a problem with.
Yep, definitely.
I mean, if you want to get it, I'm not here to change anybody's mind about the vaccine. And people will come to me and say, well, you post a lot about the vaccine and the efficacy and not being good and this and that. I said, the only reason I do is to defend my right because people come at me to tell me, why aren't you getting it? And you need to get it because of this reason. that forces me to post my counter reasons
I
for
think
not wanting to get it.
the best thing to
Yeah.
do would be hold up a glass of water and say, that's nice and clear. You'll drink that, right? Because you know you can see what's in it. Let me put a little bit of dog poop in there, right? Are you going to drink it then? Probably not.
Mhm.
And that's probably the best way to say to somebody about the vaccine, and then going, oh, well, you keep saying there's contaminants in it and stuff like that. Well, in every vaccine, there's
I don't know what's
contaminants.
in it.
Exactly.
They won't tell me what's in it.
Yep.
So I don't know what's in it.
No,
And
we can
neither
only
do
go,
you.
and we can only go by what the doctors that have looked at it under these $4 million microscopes and have
That's right.
knowledge, right? We kind of go with them. So, and I have a big
That's right.
problem with doctors and scientists being silenced over trying to make the public knowledgeable. So,
That's right. That's right.
Science is only advanced through debate. They debate it, they analyze science, other scientists talk about it, peer-reviewed studies, scientific research. This is how science is advanced.
that's right.
This is how science that is thought about at one time is then proven to be incorrect in
Mhm.
order to advance our knowledge and our understanding. When you squash a segment of our medical and our professional community from analyzing and discussing and debating findings, you're not advancing science. You're projecting an agenda.
That's right.
So, as long as they keep silencing people that have a different point of view and adding in things like sanctions against doctors, then I'm going to have a problem with accepting any science that's coming out.
That's
That's
right.
right.
Totally agree.
That's where I stand. Science has never been the debate on science has never been squashed, and it shouldn't be now.
No.
We're all free to make our own choices, but my problem is the mandate. Don't tell me that I have to put something inside my body. Doctors have been placing things inside my body for varying illnesses for the last 25 years. I went from weighing 145 pounds, now I weigh 96 pounds because of the things that the doctors have injected inside of my body. They've destroyed me, and they really expect me to trust them with this when they're not even willing to give me a list of ingredients on what's in it?
Yeah.
No.
Well, really,
No.
if the government approved that commodity, right? It's not on the market. But why? Like, I kind of lost my train of thought. Sorry. That's part of my
It's all
recovery
good.
here. So, yeah, once it comes back, I'll
Yeah,
start
it's all
talking.
good. Brain fog is
Yeah, oh, yeah.
part of it, right?
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely. Brain fog is part of it. I thank cannabis for, keeping my mental faculties intact, right? Whenever I get brain fog, I just like, okay, just do another dab. It just seems to make everything fall into place for me. So, keep my endocannabinoid system fed.
That's
and
right.
and things start firing again, right? Yeah. So the symptoms are long; they're ongoing. Is there a long COVID? Maybe, but is there a long SARS? Is there a long H1N1? Is there a long any
Anything.
virus? Take your pick. Absolutely. We just didn't put names on them then. And I think that's where we are. We talked a little bit about the sleep deprivation and the pressure and the media attention, the pounding of the agenda being part of the reason that you sought to go to the hospital just to get things checked. How much do you think that that's playing a part in the general public with their panic and with their attendance to hospitals when they're sick?
Oh, I guarantee you it's probably the main reason everybody keeps going to the hospital. See, like when I went, of course, you got to do their little checklist thing. So everybody's all coordinated off. So I get into the area all of a sudden. Oh, have you tested positive or anything? Right. And of course, all those were yes, 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 yes. And then I piped up and told the lady, I'm like, oh, yeah, by the way, I did test positive at home a couple days ago. Well, she's already behind a table like 6 feet. She took another 6 feet back and went, oh, okay, well, I'm going to have to call the nurses to see how we're going to deal with you. Like, you're suited up here, lady. You got a mask on. You got a shield on. I have a mask on. You're already 6 feet apart. Like, come on, really? And then, yeah, I didn't even get to go to triage. I went straight into a room. Yeah, and a little partition wall. And because at that point I'm still sick and I'm using the washroom like constantly, I said, so like, where am I going to go to the washroom? Oh, well, you can't use the regular washrooms. So like, I can bring you a urinal or I can bring you one of those chairs.
No.
I was like, I can't use that washroom right there. Like, we can't just say this is my washroom, right? And you can disinfect it after. Oh, no, we can't do that. I was like, well, then you better bring me that chair because I'm not holding a little freaking can to pee in, right? I said, because I'm also pretty loose in the rear. So, yeah. And I still never got that chair. I was in the hospital for 3 hours, and it was until like almost the doctor came in. I seen a nurse and said, hey, can I get that chair so I can go to the washroom? Yeah, they just stick you in the room and leave you. That's all they did, right? Doctor come in, checked my vitals, made me breathe, and went, yeah, you're fine. Way you go.
Go home.
Yeah. So really, it was a joke going to the hospital, to be honest with you, right? So, yeah, everybody's just too scared, right? Like I drive trucks, so I deal with customers every single day delivering steel, right? And Mennonite country, I go up there, nobody wears their mask, right? Everybody's like, yeah, we've all had COVID. Right, like it came through here and we're all fine. So yeah, but then you go to people that have the news and it's just like, oh, please stay away, right? They don't even want to take their piece of paper, their packing slips, right? Like, it's just like, come on, guys.
Yeah, we have a very widespread Mennonite community here as well. And no, they're not doing anything.
No.
Nothing. Zero. Life goes on.
Yeah, well, this time actually, this last set of lockdown rules for like the schools closing and stuff. So the Mennonite country around here, they all complied the first 3 times to shut the schools down, everything. And as we know, the Mennonites are kind of by themselves in that community. They pay for their own health care, etc. Right? Yeah. So this time when the government went, no, we're going to close the schools again, these guys went, no, we're keeping our schools open. And yeah, they've been just carrying on like nobody else's business, right? And yeah, the elderly that were kind of meant to go, they went, right? Other than that, everybody else is fine and dandy.
Yeah. I looked up some stats before the show, and in 2010 through 2019, so those 9 years that were there were on average the same amount of hospital admissions in flu season as there have been through the 2019-2020 season, as well as 2020 to 2021, and now into 2022. The numbers aren't any greater than they were in the past 9 years during flu season.
It's because there's an agenda.
Yeah, they're the same numbers as we've seen in past years. I mean, you can go back and you can look at headlines going back to the 1990s, where every 2 to 4 years, the papers have headlines. Hospitals are filling up. ER is overwhelmed. ICU is full. These headlines aren't new. They've been around every few years for decades. I don't know how it is that our population was convinced that this is new. Have we forgotten what happened last year?
I think so. I think a lot of brainwashing due to the media, and the fact that there is weather modification, right? And as I was big into looking into all this kind of stuff, like what they spray in the skies, heavy metals, aluminum, your barium, your strontium, cadmium, all these other metals, right, that all come down. We ingest all this shit. So like I said, there's been an agenda for quite some time to do what they're doing. And it's been a plan, and they've been rolling it out very slowly but very methodically, as far as I'm concerned. And by paying the media off to get their stellar headlines is a good way, right? Being that the news is on, 3 times a day, and a lot of people watch the news.
Yeah.
So I sit there, I watch the news, and I just sit there and I go, you guys are fucked.
I don't know. Maybe this is part of the reason that I was able to grasp a lot of this so immediately. We don't have TV. I have a television. I do not have cable. I do not have a signal from any mainstream media station. We don't have TV in that respect. We stream the movies that we want. There are no commercials. There are no advertisements. There's nothing. If there's a show on I want to watch, I stream it. And I don't get any of the ads. I don't watch the news. I haven't watched mainstream media newscast for about 9 years. I'll catch headlines from newspapers through Google and through DuckDuckGo. And various search engines is where I get my mainstream media news from, is search engines. I'll search stuff. What's today's news? Top headlines. And I sort of scan what mainstream is putting out there. For the most part, I laugh at much of the stuff that's coming out. And this was even pre-COVID, because it's just gotten ridiculous. The amount of propaganda that's being passed off as news.
Yep.
So maybe in that aspect, I maybe that's why I fared a little bit better, because I gave that shit up a long time ago, man. I gave up the news before I gave up cigarettes. So that there's that, right? I think everybody needs to turn off their TV.
Yep.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yep.
You'll be
That's
a
for
lot
sure.
better off. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else that you wanted to add in about your experience with COVID before we sign off?
No, I think that's probably about it, really.
Okay,
Yeah,
you, JJ?
No.
All right. Doesn't look like Janice is making it back. Sounded like she had her hands full with one of her children. She is a busy mom, and she's working from home. She operates her own company out of her house, and she's doing her thing, a busy lady there. So I really appreciate the time that she did take to let us know about her story and her experiences with C-19, along with her husband's experiences. Yeah, C-19, it's a bug, but is it a killer bug? No, it's
I
a
don't think
flu.
so.
Like any other flu. If you have comorbidities, if you have underlying conditions, if you have something where any flu bug could be a danger for you, then yeah, you might have some worse symptoms than the average person out there. But for everybody else, it's a flu. Little bit different symptoms than what we're used to, but symptoms nonetheless, and all very low key and manageable at home from my experience. And yours too, I see.
For the most part, yeah, it was.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining me here tonight on our maiden episode of What's Up, Northern Ontario. And we're going to be back on Thursday at 7 p.m. this coming Thursday, January the 27th, with a special episode of What's Up. We're going to be speaking to a local physician, Dr. Phillips. Dr. Patrick Phillips will be joining me on the show and discussing his experiences with working out of the Blanche River Health Department, Health hospitals here in Northern Ontario, dealing with our Temiskaming Health Unit, as well as the College of Physicians and Surgeons on his journey to treat patients ethically and with adhering to his oath. So it should be a rather interesting conversation with Dr. Phillips, and I look forward to having this very experienced professional on talking to us about the state of affairs today with C-19. So I hope you all tune in again on Thursday at 7 p.m. here on What's Up, Northern Ontario. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you, Jeff, for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And I hope everybody out there joins me, as I said, 1 week from tonight for let's chat again on What's Up. Thanks for tuning in. Well, ciao for now.